to convert the Lexington into a museum.
Mm-hmm.
And with a ship twice its size in the FORRESTAL, double the expense at least.
There are
So
two different types of ships, though, right?
Completely different. Yeah, this is a super carrier. So now this ship is parked off of Brownsville. It's going to be taken apart like a Lego set, piece by piece by piece. And the folks that are in charge of doing that, joining me right now on 710 KURV, Nick Shah, is with All-Star Metals. Nick, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. How long is it going to take you to dismantle the USS FORRESTAL? Do you know?
Good morning. I appreciate you inviting me.
You bet, man.
The dismantling project will take about 18 months from now. It's a 2-year job from that should end before 10/22/15.
Are you on a deadline to take it apart?
That we do have a deadline. That's correct.
Okay, because clients are waiting for the metal that you need to take off of this thing.
No, it's a Navy contract. The ship is contracted to be done in a certain period of time by the Navy contract. It has nothing to do with
that
the
is
consumer
interesting.
that will be recycling the metal.
Why do they put an 18-month deadline? I'm just curious. Can you tell me why they put an 18-month deadline?
The government usually puts a deadline on jobs like this, so it doesn't take years to do. For the government, it becomes a liability.
Okay.
For a long period of time. Let's say if someone took 5 years or 10 years to go ahead and dismantle something like this, it becomes a significant liability for them. So it's my understanding because of that, they go ahead and put a time frame that is realistically approachable.
You bet. Have you been aboard this ship? Have you had a chance to go through the catacombs and take a look at everything in there?
I've been on board the ship, yes.
Wow.
Multiple times.
What does it look like? I mean, are you able to still turn on the lights and kind of walk through there and hear the ghostly sounds of missions past? I mean, what is that experience like?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The ship has been stripped. It was when the ship goes for decommissioning. Prior to that, there are different phases. It goes to ready reserve, and then it goes to, donation status, and then there's a reefing status, and then, it goes through different phases. Yeah. And the last phase is ship disposal or ship recycling. And so as the phases go on, they have to mitigate certain risk. So, for example, when they go ahead and decommission her, they take away all the bridge equipment and any of the electronic gear.
Yeah.
Then, there's a part that goes to, let's say, the museum. So the museums come in and they go ahead and take what they want from the ship to go ahead and put at a museum. And it goes in different phases like that. So currently, the current status is there is no power on the ship. We have temporary power, which are run by generators pretty much. Yeah. And it is, if you walk in the ship without the temporary power, it is pitch dark.
So it's a ghost ship.
Ooh.
I would say it's since we've done this for a long period of time, it is a different way of looking at the ship.
Yeah.
I've been on the ship when it was -8 degrees in Philadelphia, tow prepping it. With 6 inches of snow when we left, to when it came in and it was fog, and it ended up being 75 degrees that day. So, in different conditions, being on the ship, you have a totally different respect for the people that served and that were on that vessel.
Absolutely, that's some great insight, Mr. Shah. Tim Sullivan here. How many workers will be involved in the dismantling?
We've gone ahead and projected that we will have 200 people on that job when we're fully up and running.
How many did you say?
There are
I'm
a lot
sorry?
of environmental and remediation phases.
I think you said 200 people.
And so throughout the job, we'll have about 200 people.
What skills are needed to do this sort of work?
That's another very good question. We need skills that range anywhere from general labor to asbestos workers to ship cutters, or what we call burners. And that's kind of what we're looking for.
And are you hiring, or do you have the workers already there needed to do the work?
We have most of the workers that we need, but we are still hiring.
Where does the scrap metal go?
The scrap metal, the recycling process is once the material comes off, it's graded by the type of material it is. So non-ferrous versus ferrous. Ferrous, just for the general public, is magnetic, so it's usually steel. Non-ferrous is non-magnetic, usually copper and stainless and aluminum and things like that. And so we segregate the material, and the material then goes to different homes. In the case of steel, which most of the vessel will be, it will go to a steel mill, which will then take that material and make new material out of it that could either be used in ships or in structural plate or in structural beams, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So are you tempted to go back in there maybe with a flashlight and go walk around and looking through the floor, look for some old Navy pins or pennies or anything like that might be still some memorabilia that might be on the floor somewhere around there?
Yeah, that's ironic that you ask that.
You're doing that, aren't you? I know you're doing that because that's what that's what I would be doing, man. I would be combing that ship up and down just for something memorable, dude.
Well, there's since I haven't served on that ship, I can't really say what is truly memorable for me versus someone else. But there are so many cool things, and over the last 5 months, since people know we've been awarded this vessel, I've received letters from people that have served on it saying that this is what happened when I was on the ship, and there's certain memorabilia that has already been taken off and preserved.
There's a tremendous history, and there's
process.
a tragic history involved with that vessel.
Correct.
So.
Yeah. Anybody asking you for something? Hey, can you please look and see if the nameplate is still on bunk 19 and level 6 or something like that? Is anybody asking you for stuff?
No one's been that specific, but we've had multiple requests, but for different. I've had people request me to sell the ship to them. I mean,
wow.
The request range.
Is that even well? Actually, that's a good point, Nick. Is that even possible? Let's say somebody shows up with a $15 million check. Is that even possible?
No, it's not.
Okay, because you're under contract with the Navy to take it apart. You can't give it up to somebody else, right?
That's correct.
Okay, dude.
Just to clarify, and there's some miscommunication in people reading how it's read out there, but the Navy still owns the vessel.
Okay.
All Star Metals is not the owner of the vessel. The Navy owns the vessel, and we have been contracted by the Navy to perform the dismantling services and the recycling services, and they have paid us a penny to do that.
I see.
So the vessel is still theirs.
Nick, it's a fascinating conversation. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Boy, I could just keep talking with you for another hour about this. That's Nick Shah with All Star Metals, and they are in charge of taking apart the USS FORRESTAL over the next 18 months. The time is 7:22. The Valley's Morning News on 710 KURV.